Good evening. The men who were closest to Richard Nixon in the White House and in politics today were sentenced to prison for their role in the Watergate cover-up. Former Attorney General John Mitchell.
Anybody puts one of those near me, I'm going to knock it down his throat.
White House Chief of Staff, H.R. Bob Haldeman.
I'm prepared now to accept the results.
Mr. Nixon's Domestic Affairs Counselor, John Ehrlichman.
Let's give each other room, man. Yes, sir.
All were sentenced to at least 2.5 years in prison.
I want it implemented on a thievery basis. God damn it, get in and get those files.
I want it implemented on a thievery basis. God damn it, get in and get those files. Blow the safe and get it. We're up against an enemy, a conspiracy. You're using any means. We are going to use any means.
We have a mystery story out of Washington. 5 people have been arrested and charged with breaking into the headquarters of the Democratic National Committee in the middle of the night.
Police confiscated extensive photographic and electronic eavesdropping gear, as well as several $1,000s in consecutively numbered bills.
Please get me the names of the Jews. Big Jewish contributors to the Democrats. Could we please investigate some of the cocksuckers?
Mr. President, I wonder if you could share with us your thoughts. Tell us what goes through your mind. When you hear people who love this country and people who believe in you say reluctantly that perhaps you should resign or be impeached.
There must be some kind of way out of here. Say the joker to the thief.
Well, I'm glad we don't take the vote in this room, we say.
And he starts spinning these lurid tales about Ellsberg, which Nixon just gobbles up.
Started as the Ellsberg story. Front page, big black type.
It started as the Ellsberg story, front page, big black type.
Curse that son of a bitch. I know him well.
You know him?
Well,
he's nuts, isn't he?
Nuts.
Why do they have him in the Defense Department?
Well, Mr. President, he's a funny guy. He's a genius. Brightest student I've ever had. He was a hardliner. Volunteered for Vietnam. He was so nuts. He'd drive around all over Vietnam with a carbine. When it was guerrilla infested, he'd shoot at peasants in the fields on the theory that everyone in black.
He's a born killer.
He's always been a little unbalanced.
But it's the most slanderous lie that could be made of me. He also said I was his most brilliant student. I'd never been a student of his for a minute.
They brought him into defense, and he came back from Vietnam, but he flipped. Late 67, suddenly turned into a peacenik. He's moved into a more and more radical position.
Why do you suppose the Times paid him for this?
He wouldn't do that for money.
Well, they do if they're on dope.
He's married a very rich girl who doesn't need money.
Well, the other reason is that this is a labor of love for the Times. There's nobody in the Times that's for us on Vietnam.
You can maybe blackmail Johnson on the bombing halt stuff. Houston swears there's a file on it at Brookings.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I need a son of a bitch like Houston who will work his butt off and do it dishonorably. He will know what he's doing, and I'll direct him myself. I know how to play this game. And we're gonna start playing it. I want someone as tough as I am for a change. Do you think, for Christ's sakes, the New York Times is worried about all the legal niceties? Those sons of bitches are killing me. We're up against an enemy, a conspiracy. You're using any means. We are going to use any means. Did you get the Brookings Institute raided last night?
No.
No? Get it done. I want the Brookings safe
cleaned out.